Ya ibadallah, Allah Ta'ala has seen fit to spare us, to allow us to gather together in this gathering of brothers and sisters bi'idhnillahi ta'ala who are upon kitab inshaAllah ta'ala and upon the sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and upon the fahm al-salaf salih or the minhaj al-salaf salih. In these gatherings it is hoped that we benefit from, that these gatherings will be such that are a hujjah lana, an evidence for us, and in the qiyamah, on the day of judgment, and not an evidence against us. Now, in keeping with the theme of the conference, because we must do that which we say and be of those who act upon what we say, it is diseases of the heart. But to be honest, this is a broad subject that can be covered from different angles. A broad subject that can be covered from many different angles. And it's not possible to cover such a vast subject in just a sitting such as this, or just a one-day conference such as this. The matter is contained or is connected to matters that are ijabi and matters that are salbi, or matters that are positive and matters that are negative. Things that the heart needs to be nourished with, manners that the heart should have, qualities and characteristics that are praiseworthy, qualities that the heart must avoid which are blameworthy, matters that soften the heart, matters that harden the heart, and things of this nature, things that bring the heart alive, things that can cause the heart to be sick or to die. All these are issues connected to the heart. So in order to go and take a matter such as this, that's this vast, you would need really much more than we can offer at a conference such as this. It's a detailed issue. It is a detailed issue. So what I felt that I could do in this brief period of time and to benefit myself and my brothers and my sisters bi'idhnillahi ta'ala wa tawfiqi, is to shine the spotlight on a particular issue that is a quality that we should have and inculcate and be that which is possessed in our hearts, and that is the quality of adl. Naam, the quality of adl, of justice, to be just. And this is something that we find lacking amongst many, and also amongst those who are negligent regarding these matters, amongst those upon the kitab and sunnah way to salaf salih. Because this is a beautiful characteristic and it's an important characteristic, but like anything that is worth achieving, and it is something that is expensive, it requires that a person strives to achieve it, and adl, this justice. The opposite, of course, is dhulm, injustice. And injustice is that in the lugha, in the Arabic language, one of the definitions that they give to injustice is wada' shay fi ghayri makanih, to place something in its improper place, to place something where it doesn't belong. This is dhulm. So therefore, if you place worship and direct it towards Allah Ta'ala alone and assign nothing to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, then this is adl, this is just. But were you to place worship and direct it towards other than Allah Ta'ala, or place someone or something as an object or share in this worship along with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then this is dhulm. Then this is dhulm, injustice, because you have placed something in its improper place. Someone has done something haram, or they have committed something that is incorrect, or they have to be punished, or whatever the case may be, and the proper punishment is meted out, then this is justice. Someone that you just stand up and walk across the room for no reason in particular and slap them across their face, this is dhulm, this is injustice, because you have placed punishment where it did not belong to be placed. I think the matter is clear. Placing issues, placing matters in their improper place where they do not belong, this is dhulm. And the greatest dhulm is shirk. because you place worship where it doesn't belong. And this is why Allah says in Surah Luqman that shirk verily is the greatest of dhulm. The greatest of dhulm, the greatest injustice. So adl is matlub. To be just is what is required. To be just is to place things in their proper manner, in their proper proportion. And justice is not to be defined by what we, or the way we was raised, or the environment that we grew up in, but justice is defined by the book of Allah Ta'ala, by the Sunnah of the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and understood in the light of the Minhaj al-Salaf Salih. This is how justice is to be defined, not according to one's whims or desires. Allah says in Surah Nisa, verse 35, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kunu qawwamina bil qist. O you who believe, be of you of those who establish qist, justice. Shuhada'a lillah, witnesses for Allah. Walau ala anfusikum, even if it be against yourselves. Al walidaini, wal akrabain, or your parents, or your nearest of kins. In yakun ghaniyan aw faqiran, whether you are old or whether you are rich, whether or poor. In yakun ghaniyan aw faqiran, whether the person is rich or poor. فَاللَّهُ أَوْلَى بِهِمَا, Allah has more right to them. فَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا الْهَوَى, do not follow your desires. فَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا الْهَوَى, do not follow your desires. أَن تَعْدِلُوا, and let that prevent you from being just. وَإِن تُلْوُوا أَوْ تُعْرِضُوا, turn away. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ خَبِيرًا, for very Allah Ta'ala is well aware, is well informed of what you do. عن ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, that the Messenger of Allah said, إن المقسطين, verily those who are just, إن المقسطين, verily those who are just, عند الله يوم القيامة, when they meet Allah on the day of judgment, على منابر من نور, they'll be on pulpits of light. And Yamin ar-Rahman, to the right of the most merciful. وَكِلَّةَ يَدَيْهِ يَمِينٌ, and both the hands of Allah is right hands. الَّذِينَ يَعْدِلُونَ, those who are just. فِي حُكْمِهِمْ, in what they judge with. وَأَهْلِهِمْ, and with their people. وَمَا وَلُّوا, and what they in authority are responsible for. See, justice, or being just, it's not something you just cry and scream and holler about all day, and it has no real benefit or no real worth, just words on the tongue, but it is something that you must inculcate and must have as an element, as a characteristic, as a part of your heart and a part of your life, so that when it is acquired, then that individual will be with Allah Ta'ala on the day of judgment, on light, on mimbars or pulpits, manabir of nur, pulpits of light, to the right of Ar-Rahman, to the right of the most merciful, in both the hands of Allah Ta'ala, right hands. They are those who are just when they make a ruling. They are just with their families, and they are just when they are placed in responsibilities, in positions of responsibilities. This is an issue of adl. This is an issue of adl. Just, being fair, being right. And this is something where we're deficient in. This is an area where we're deficient in. Are we as just as we should be, or are we just at all? Can someone come to us and feel that we will be fair enough and removed enough from our ahwa, our desires and our inclinations and our whims, that he will therefore get from us that which is just? That which is just. Al-adl is something very, very, very important. in the life of the Muslim, particularly in the life of the Salafi, those who are on the Kitab and Sunnah, those wadihin or wadihun, who are clear in their minhaj, who are upon Kitab and Sunnah in the Fahm al-Salaf Salih, in the minhaj al-Salaf Salih, bima'na kalima, and with the meaning of his words, who take and respect the ulama as the inheritors of the Prophet alayhi salam, the ulama of the past and the ulama of the present, who have nothing on their tongue except goodness and righteousness when they mention those scholars who have passed and those scholars of the present. As Imam Tahawi says, and they are those who mention him be jameel, with goodness, for he who mentions him with shar, with evil, فَهُوَ عَلَى غَيْرِ السَّبِيلِ, he is not upon the path. Imam Tahawi rahimahullah is giving us understanding as to how we can judge as to whether a person is upon the path. He's saying if you find that he's mentioning the scholars and those of righteousness in a praiseworthy fashion, jameel, in a good way, in an honorable way, then he's on the way, he's on the right path. But if he mentions them in an evil manner, if he tries to throw some negativity towards them, try to remove your viewpoint regarding them, try to belittle them in any shape, fashion, or form, فَهُوَ عَلَى غَيْرِ السَّبِيلِ, he's not upon the path, he's not upon the way. Al-adl should not be confused with muwazana. Al-adl is one thing, and a principle that the innovators came up with to protect the innovators, meaning that if you mention anything good about the man, you have to mention, if you mention anything evil about the man, you have to mention something good about the man, saying don't throw the baby out with the bathwater and foolishness like this. This has nothing to do with adl, for that's dhulm, injustice. For when we warn against the innovators, the maqam is maqam al-tahdhir, is position of warning, and that is the hikmah, the wisdom behind it. That is the maqsood, the purpose behind it. And you will eradicate that whole purpose were you to mention something praiseworthy about him. What is the benefit of me saying about a man that yes, he's upon bid'ah, but you know his lihya is tawil, with thawb qasir, his lihya is long and his thawb is above his ankles, and you should see his khushu, and boy, if you heard his tilawa, what's the benefit of that? I'm not warning you against him now. I'm calling you to him. So this muwazana, or this balancing as they call it, is dhulm, is injustice, because it's placing things, what? In the improper place. Al-adl in lugha, Ibn Mandur mentions, maqam fi nufus, innahu mustaqim. It's a status or a position in the hearts that alludes or show that it's uprightness. Mustaqim. Wa huwa didd al-jawr, it's the opposite of being unjust. It's the opposite of being unfair. It's the opposite of being unfair. It's the opposite of being unjust. وعدل في الحاكم في الحكم. They say عدل الحاكم في الحكم. يعني the judge judged in a matter with justice. The judge judged in a matter with justice. يعدل عدلا وهو عادل. He was just, so therefore he judged justly, so therefore he is just. He is just. He is just. So, al-adl huwa alladhi la yamil bihi hawah. The just one is the one who doesn't allow his desires to taint him, to deviate him, to take him in another direction. He doesn't allow his desires to come in between him and the decision that he's making. For yajur fi hukm. And he deviates based upon his desires, and therefore he's unjust in his ruling. He's unjust because of his desires. And you notice that the hadith stated unjust in their rulings, or the ones who are rather just in their rulings, the ones who will be upon pulpits of light to the right of the most merciful on the day of judgment, just in their rulings, just with their families, and just in what they are responsible for. So he doesn't allow his desires to cause him to be unjust amongst his family members, to cause him to be unjust amongst his children, to allow him to give this child more than that child because of what? Of his desires, because he's being unjust. If he has more than one wife, then we know that the matter is ashad min dhalik. Worse than that, for he will come on a day of judgment, as comes in the Sahih riwayat, lopsided. As he was lopsided in regards, this is a punishment based upon the action. Punishment in accordance with the action. Since he was lopsided regarding his treatment of his wives, he'll be lopsided on the day of judgment. This is serious. This is serious. Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah points the fact that it is justice for which the heavens and the earth and all that is in it has been established upon. Justice. That Allah Ta'ala established the heavens and the earth upon justice. Of course, the greatest justice is the oneness of Allah Ta'ala, and Tawheed of Allah Ta'ala, the purpose for which He brought all creation to existence. This is serious, to be just. Don't think that when we talk about these ayat and these ahadith that you're somehow obscured or you're absolved from this issue. Oh, he's talking about the rulers. No, talking to each and every one of us who has ears and who has a heart and who can understand. You have to be just. Any type of trickery, any type of deceit, any type of following of desires in the issues dealing with the matters of your family or the people or position or whatever authority or whatever your program is, if you're not just, there's punishment. The hadith of the Prophet ﷺ showed this in particular. It says, "Dhulm dhulumat yawm al-qiyamah." The injustices are darknesses on the day of judgment. That injustice will physically be turned into darkness on the day of judgment. Dhulm dhulumat. What we do matters. What we say matters. How we deal with people matters. And Allah Ta'ala is going to judge us, and we will stand account for this. The issue is the issue of justice. We've been unjust with our tongues. We've been unjust with our hands. We've been unjust with our hearts. We've been unjust in our business dealings. We've been unjust in our transactions and our dealings with one another. We have to clean this up. We didn't come here to sit around for entertainment. We're talking about diseases of the heart. And from the diseases of the heart are the dhulm, the injustice that we do to one another. The injustice that we mete out to our wives, the injustice that they mete out to us, the injustice that attaches itself to our children, and to those that we come in contact with in the masjid, and to those that we meet in the streets. This is a reality, brothers. Al-adl, matlub. To be just is what is required. To be just is what is required. Al-adl hukm bil-haq. To judge in any given situation with what is true, what is real, what is right. يقال هو يقضي بالحق. He judges by the truth. في اصطلاح الشرعي, the legislative term, قال ابن كثير رحمه الله في معنى قوله تعالى, the meaning of the statement of Allah Ta'ala, إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان. Verily orders with justice and goodness. قال العدل هو القسط والموازنة. And he's talking about the muwazina in the time of the Salaf, not the foolishness that we talked about earlier. It is to be just. It is to be just. قال قرطبي رحمه الله قال ابن العربي وأما العدل بينه وبين خلق. How can you be just between you and the creatures? Giving us precise examples. For many of us, it doesn't benefit that you say a word like just and leave it like that in the air. For Qiyamah will come and he'll think that it never applied to him. Qiyamah will come before he says, wait a minute, maybe that applies to me. Maybe that khitab ilahi, maybe that address from Allah Ta'ala is talking to me. Maybe that hadith al-Nabawi is talking about me. Maybe it's something that I should correct myself with. Some people are like that. Unless they got a clear, concrete example, they never apply it to themselves whatsoever. So therefore he gives example of badal al-nasiha. It is to expand and give advice. And nasiha in the Arabic language, as you all know, implies sincerity, implies advice, and implies purity. That when you give nasiha, you're not carrying any hidden agenda. You're not looking for any benefit to yourself. You're not looking at yourself at all. But you're looking at the individual that you're giving nasiha to, and what is of benefit to that individual, what will help that individual, what will make that individual's burden, lighten that individual's burden, make a way out for that individual of tightness, or whatever the case may be. Badal nasiha. Nasiha bima'na kalima. I don't think we really know the meaning of nasiha, and that which we know of its meaning we don't really practice. Wa tark al-khiyana, leaving out deceit and trickery. Leaving out deceit and trickery. فيما قل وكثر. Whether it's a small thing that you're dealing with or a very large thing that you're dealing with. You are giving nasiha, you are being sincere, you are speaking with the brother, and you have nothing of your own hidden motives or agenda involved. You want for him all good, all khair, and you won't have any khiyana in it, even if it's a small matter that he's asking you about. You are giving it the weight that it deserves, and you are speaking to that with sincere advice. وَالْإِنْصَافِ فِي نَفْسِكَ بِكُلِّ وَجْهٍ, and the objectivity from yourself, leaving yourself out from every aspect. From every aspect. Many of us, the problem is that we put ourselves in the issue. We put ourselves in the equation. We don't give advice for the sake and for the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala. We don't have the sincerity there, but we put ourselves in the equation. ولا يكون منك إساءة إلى أحد بقول ولا فعل في السر ولا يعني, it is not from you any type of evilness to anyone. Allah Akbar. إساءة إلى أحد, to anyone بقول ولا فعل. Not by your statements, brothers. I'm speaking to myself and you and anyone who has the ears to listen. بقول or فعل. Not by your statements or your actions. Not by your statements or your actions. Not openly or inwardly. Not openly or inwardly. This is part of what? Adl, between you or between us and the other creatures that we inhabit upon this, come in contact with upon this earth. وَالصَّبْرَ عَلَى مَا يُصِيبُكْ مِنْهُمْ مِنْ بَلْوَى. Be patient upon what comes to you of harm from them. There will come some harm from a brother. There will come some harm, maybe from your wife. Some harm, maybe from your husband. Some harm, maybe from your children. Some harm, maybe from your companion. Some harm, maybe from someone you know. Whatever the case may be, you have to have what upon that? Sabr. Patience. Patience upon that. And the least of adl. This is the Qurtubi statement in Jami al-Ahkam al-Quran. The least of adl, or justice, is al-insaf wa tark al-adha. Al-insaf wa tark al-adha. To be objective, to be just and objective, and leaving off harming. Leaving off any type of harm. This is the least amount, the smallest amount of justice. And there are many ayat in the Quran that speak about justice and order justice and say that those who are the adilin, who are just, will get a great ajr, a great reward from Allah Ta'ala. Great blessing from Allah Ta'ala. And it talks about what will happen to the zalimeen, to the unjust. Those who avoid the haqq while they know it. Those who turn away from the haqq while they know it. Those who judge by other than the haqq while they know it. What they will experience of adhab al-muheen, severe punishment. That which will await them not only in the hereafter but in this life. Not only in the hereafter but in this life. So we'll take some of these ayat to show that the words that it refers to are adl. So we got to understand the importance of the words that is referring to, adl, justice, so we can take this matter of importance on our daily life. And as soon as we get up from this dars, we want to be of those who are adileen, just. As soon as we get done, as soon as you hear, alhamdulillah, hadha wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad, you're ready to be just. لأنك قد سمعت, because you've heard the ayat and the ahadith. And as a Salafi, you don't need more than that. What does a Salafi need more than that for? But to hear ayat from his Lord, or ahadith from his Nabi alayhi salam, and he's ready to act. And she's ready to act. Isn't that what it's all about? Being Salafi? قال تعالى, Allah the Exalted says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْمُرُ بِالْعَدْلِ وَالْإِحْسَانِ, where our orders with justice and goodness, وَإِيتَاءِ ذِي الْقُرْبَى, and giving to the close of kin, وَيَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنْكَرِ, he forbids from lewdness and inequity, or evil and filthy lewd acts, وَالْبَغْيِ, transgressing the bounds. يَعِذُكُمْ لَعَلَكُمْ تَذَكَّرُونَ, he admonishes you so that you may receive admonition, so that you may be reminded. Surah An-Nahl, verse 90. Imam al-Qurtubi brings in the tafsir about this on authority Ibn Atiyah. قالوا العدل إن الله يأمر, very Allah orders بالعدل والإحسان, to be just and to be good and upright. هو كل مفروض, العدل is everything that is obligatory, من عقائد وشرائع, from the beliefs and legislative practices, في أداء أمانات, in fulfilling your trust, وترك الظلم, and leaving injustice, والإنصاف, objectivity, وإيتاء الحق, giving everyone their right, وإيتاء الحق, giving everyone their right. This is an order from Allah Ta'ala. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْمُرُ, where Allah orders بالعدل, to be just, بالعدل والإحسان, to be good, وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر, and to give those who are close kith and kin, and fahsha, and he warns against fahsha, or forbids against fahsha والمنكر, والبغي, transgression. He gives you admonition so that you may be reminded. Ibn Atiyah says al-adl in this ayah means, his tafsir ya ikhwa, huwa kull mafrood, everything that is an obligation, everything that is an obligation, min aqa'id, from the beliefs that we have, wa shara'i', legislative matters, fi ada' al-amanat, in keeping your trusts, وَتَرْكَ الظُّلْمِ, leaving off injustice, وَالْإِنصَافِ, being objective, وَإِيتَاءِ الْحَقِّ, giving the rights. This is adl that is mentioned in this ayah that Allah Ta'ala has ordered us to practice, that Allah Ta'ala has ordered us to fulfill, to be just. قال تعالى, Allah the Exalted says, فَلِذَلِكَ فَدْعُوا وَاسْتَقِمْ, so to this call, فَاسْتَقِمْ, and be upright, كَمَا أُمِرْتَ, as you have been ordered, وَلَا تَتَّبِعْ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ, and do not follow their desires. وَقُلْ آمَنْتُ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ مِنْ كِتَابٍ, say I believe in that which Allah has revealed, and of the book, or has revealed from the books. وَأُمِرْتُ لِأَعْدِلَ بَيْنَكُمْ, and I've been ordered to be just between you. وَأُمِرْتُ لِأَعْدِلَ بَيْنَكُمْ, and I've been ordered to be just between you. وَأُمِرْتُ لِأَعْدِلَ بَيْنَكُمْ, and I've been ordered to be just between you. Allahu Rabbuna wa Rabbukum, Allah is our Lord and is your Lord. لَنَا أَعْمَالُنَا وَلَكُمْ أَعْمَالُكُمْ, for us is our actions and for you are your actions. لَا حُجَّةَ بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَكُمْ, there is no evidence between you and us. Allahu yajma'u baynana wa ilayhi masir, Allah will gather between us and to him is a return. Surah Al-Ma'idah, Surah Al-Shura, verse 15. Surah Al-Shura, verse 15. قال Tabari rahimahullah, وَقُلْ لَهُمْ يَا Muhammad, say to him, O Muhammad, in this ayah, وَأَمْرَنِي رَبِّي, my Lord has ordered me, an a'dil, to be just between you. مَعَشَرَ الْأَحْزَابِ, all you various groups. فَأَسِيرُ فِيكُمْ جَمِيعًا بِالْحَقِّ, so I walk between all of you with the truth. الَّذِي أَمْرَ بِهِ, that which he ordered me with. وَبَعَثَنِي بِالدُّعَاءِ إِلَيْهِ, and sent me to call to. قَالَ قَتَادَةُ وَأَمَرَنِي لِأَعْدِلْ بَيْنَكُمْ, he ordered me to be just between you. أَمْرَ نَبِيَّ اللَّهِ, the Prophet Islam has been ordered to be just. To be just. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has been ordered to be just. Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was ordered to be just. Abu Qasim sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was ordered to be just. قال فعدل حتى مات, and he was just until he passed away. Salawatullah wa salamu alayhi. وعدل ميزان الله في الأرض, and justice is the scale of Allah ta'ala upon the earth. يأخذ للمظلوم من الظالم, Allah will call to account the unjust one for those who they have done justice to. وللضعيف من الشديد, and to the weak, the one who has been done injustice to, from those who did injustice to him. Afwan, the one who has been done injustice to, mazloom, from the one who has been done injustice, the zalim, he will take care of the zalim. وللضعيف, for the weak, Allah Ta'ala will take care of the weak, min al-shadid, from the one who's hard upon him. وبالعدل, with justice. يصدق الله الصادق, Allah shows the truthfulness of the truthful. ويكذب الكاذب, and shows the lying of the liar. وبالعدل يرد المعتدي, and with justice the one who transgressed is taken care of and put in his proper position. And with justice the one who has transgressed is taken care of and put in his proper position. When Allah Ta'ala ordered Muhammad alayhi salam to be adil, وَأُمِرْتُ لِأَعْدِلَ بَيْنَكُمْ, I have been ordered to be just between you. Qatada says he was ordered, the Prophet of Allah was ordered, فَعَدَلَ حَتَى مَاتَ, he was just until he passed away. He was just until he passed away. And sisters agree, when Dhul Khuwaysara came, that Khariji, and says, when the Prophet ﷺ was distributing the wealth, and he said to him, "I'dil ya Muhammad, be just, O Muhammad." Prophet ﷺ said, "Who will be just if I am not just?" Another narration says, "Do you not trust me? Am I the trustworthy of the one who is in the heavens? Am I the one in the heavens trust me? Do you not trust me? And the information comes to me in the morning and the evenings." This is the justice of Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This is the justice of Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And for us, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. Verily, in the Messenger of Allah, it is for you, in the Messenger of Allah, a good example. Al-adl min al-taqwa. Al-adl min al-taqwa. To be just is part of taqwa. To be just is part of your fear of Allah ta'ala. To be just is part of you being aware of Allah ta'ala. To be just. Al-adl min al-taqwa. قال تعالى, Allah the Exalted states in Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 8, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين لله شهداء بالقسط. Yani, O you who believe, be of those of you who establish, who are witnesses for Allah and who are just. Then it says, وَلَا يَجْرِمَنَّكُمْ شَنَعَانُ قَوْمٍ. Do not let the wrongdoing of some people أَلَا أَلَّا تَعْدِلُوا stop you from being just. اعدلوا, be just. هو أقرب للتقوى. It is closer to taqwa, to the fear of Allah Ta'ala. واتقوا الله, and fear Allah. إن الله خبير بما تعملون. Very Allah is aware of what you do. قال ابن كثير رحمه الله, meaning, do not let your hatred of some people, and this a lot of us fall into, that if we hate someone, we go نتجاوز الحد, we go outside the limits. When we hate someone, we want them off the earth. We want that they be absorbed or evaporated in the air, that there's no trace of them whatsoever within the atmosphere. And so we have such a great hatred that it stops us from being just. Ibn Kathir rahimahullah said, do not let your hatred of some people make you leave adl, leave you from being just, regarding them. But be just in spite of your hatred for them. Be just in spite of what they've done to you. Be just in spite of how they treated you. Be just in spite of the fact that they forsook you. Be just in spite of the fact that they did not stand beside you in your hour of need, or whatever the case may be. Be just no matter what they said to you. Be just no matter how they treated you. But استعمل العدل, be just. في كل أحد, regarding every individual, be just. صديقا أو عدو, a friend or enemy, someone near or far, a relative or a stranger, be just. ولهذا قال, because of this Allah said, اعدلوا أقرب للتقوى, be just is more closer to taqwa. Aye, your justice, your being just, is closer to taqwa than leaving off justice. Than leaving off justice. This is Tafsir al-Quran by Ibn Kathir. At-taqwa is that imani characteristics. It is that which prevents you from doing injustice. Our adl, our justice, our taqwa will not allow us except to be just even with our enemies. And this is the beauty of Islam. And this is how Islam spread wide and far, all throughout the land, that they knew that when the Muslims were there, there was justice. If you took your case before the Muslim, you got justice. If you look for fairness, you look for the Muslim. If you look for truthfulness and fairness, you look for the Muslim. This is our heritage. This is part of the qualities that the Salaf Salih were known for. That they were just. They were upright. Justice. They had taqwa. How great is our deen? It's astonishing. What a great blessing it is. And we have no realization of this, it seems, these days. We've been ordered to be just in our rulings. قال تعالى إن الله يأمركم أن تؤدوا الأمانات. Allah orders you that you convey the trust that you have to the people that have entrusted you. يعني إلى أهلها. وإذا كنتم بين الناس, and if you judge between the people, أن تحكموا بالعدل, that you judge with justice. That if you judge between the people, that you judge with justice. Don't say the issue doesn't concern you.
This is something that we have to practice in our life. We have to practice it in our household before we come out to the streets with it. We have to be just. We have to be just. إن الله نعم ما يعظكم به إن الله كان سميعا بصيرا. For Allah Ta'ala sends upon us His blessings and He admonishes us, and there Allah is all hearing, all seeing. A tafsir of this. As-salamu rahmatullah. It's clear al-bayyina al-mudda'i wal-yamin al-mankara. And if someone claims something, he has to bring proof. And the one who denies something has to take an oath upon that. And this is to the walat al-umur and to the hukam and to whoever enters into this responsibility from all the creatures. It is from that giving the amanat, the trust, fulfilling the trust and giving it back to his people. So adl is asas, the foundation of judging in matters. Foundation of judging in matters. And there's nothing more just in Islam. As a matter of fact, Islam is the justice. Islam is the justice. The injustice is shown by our improper behavior. Our bumping and sliding and slipping and tripping and knocking over this and that and the other. Rather than sticking to what we're supposed to be sticking to and carrying the burden that we're supposed to be carrying and being upright and being sincere and being correct and being just. We even ought to be just with other than the Muslims. So what about the Muslims? If we ought to be just to Yahud and the Nasara, we ought to be just to the Kuffar. Then what about brother to brother? What about the brothers that we see in our masajid? The brothers in the marakas, in the centers. The brothers that we see, the brothers that we have in contact with. We ought to be just with the kuffar. What about others? لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين. Allah is not forbidden for you those who did not fight you regarding your deen. ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم, did not kick you out of your houses. أن تبروهم, to treat them kindly like they have treated you. وتقسطوا, and be kind إليهم, to them. To be just, تقسطوا إليهم, be just to them. إن الله يحب المقسطين. Verily Allah loves those who are what? Who are just. This is adl, justice and insaf, objectivity with other than the Muslims, with the Yahud and Nasara, those who hate us and who hate our deen, yet we're ordered to be just with them. To be just with them. Adl fil qawl, be just in our statements. قال تعالى, and Allah says, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الْمَالِ يَتِيمِ إِلَّا بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. Don't touch the wealth of the orphan except in the best way. حَتَّى يَبْلُغَ أَشُدَّهُ, until they reach the age of puberty. وَأَوْفُوا الْكَيْلَ وَالْمِيزَانَ بِالْقِسْطِ, and weigh and balance with qist, with justice. لا نكلف نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah does not burden a soul with more than it can bear. وَإِذَا قُلْتُمْ, and if you speak, if you say, إِذَا قُلْتُمْ فَعْدِلُوا, be just. If you speak, be just. وَلَوْ كَانَ ذُو الْقُرْبَى, even if it's a near kin. وَبِعَهْدِ اللَّهِ أَوْفُوا ذَلِكُمْ وَصَّاكُمْ بِهِ لَعَلَكُمْ تَذَكَّرُونَ. And with the command of Allah, fulfill the commandments of Allah. This is what Allah Ta'ala advises you, so that you may be reminded. Surah An'am, verse 152. Surah An'am, verse 152. قال ابن كثير رحمه الله يأمر تعالى بعدل. Allah is ordering with just. Whether it's in your action, justice in your actions or in your statements. Ibn Kathir says, whether in your actions or in your statements. or qareeb, those who are close, or ba'id, those who are far. Allah Ta'ala has ordered with adl, with justice. لِكُلِّ أَحَدٍ, for everyone. وَفِي كُلِّ وَقْتٍ, in every time. وَفِي كُلِّ حَالٍ, in every situation. Memorize it. Allah Ta'ala orders justice, whether in your actions or your statements. For the qareeb, the one who's close, wal ba'id, the one who's far, He orders adl. لِكُلِّ أَحَدٍ, for everyone. وَفِي كُلِّ وَقْتٍ, in every time. وَفِي كُلِّ حَالٍ, in every circumstance. Al-adl, to be just. ثُمَّ قَالَ, then Allah said, this is what you have been advised with, this is what I have ordered you with, this is what I give emphasis to. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَذَكَّرُونَ, and so that you will be admonished, that you would desist, that you will stop falling to that which you have fallen to of not being just. كَمَا كُنْتُمْ فِيهِ قَبْلَ هَذَا, how you were before this. How you were before this, before He died. The most unjust of individuals. The most unjust of individuals. Justice was something considered square. Justice was something considered not right. Off base. Not a correct behavior. And it kuntum fihi qabla hada, how we were before this. Think of the injustice that you committed before you was guided to Islam. Think of what your position with justice. That was a chump who was just. Somebody who was a square who was just. Allah Ta'ala is telling us, the ayat is making clear to us, and the ahadith are showing us that this is a quality characteristics we have to have if we want to reward us with Allah Ta'ala. And if we want to escape the punishment. For if Allah has ordered it, then it means it's an obligatory wajib. And that which is wajib is that which you do. If you do, you will be rewarded, and if you do not do, you will be punished. In other words, there's no one in this room has an excuse not to be just. No one can say, I can't be just. No one can say this is a taklif, responsibility from Allah that I can't do. No, we're ordered to be just. And that which we're not able to do of it, we ask Allah Ta'ala to give us the tawfiq. We make dua to Allah Ta'ala to give us tawfiq, to bring about this characteristic and this quality. Adl hatta fi kitabah. You have to be just even in writing. You know the ayah. Surah Al-Baqarah 282. The ayah, the longest ayah, dain, the debt, the ayah of dain. وَلْيَكْتُبُ بَيْنَكُمْ كَاتِمٌ بِالْعَدْلِ. Let the one who writes out this debt write it out with justice. Let him be just. قال القرطبي رحمه بالعدل أي بالحق. To write what is just. Don't write for one individual more than he deserves. To write what is just. And in the Sunnah we find the hadith that we took, which should be enough of a raqbah and a desire for a person to want to be just. After hearing these ayat, we should want to be just. We should fear not being just. We should fear not being just. We should fear not being just and falling into the sin of not being just. The hadith says, عن ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, verily the just with Allah on the day of judgment will be upon lights or pulpits of light, manabir min nur, on the right of the most merciful. And both the hands of Allah are right hands. There are those, and these people will be on pulpits of light to the right of Allah Ta'ala, to the right of Rahman. There are those who what? There are those who are just in their rulings, just regarding their people, and just when they are given a responsibility, just when they are placed over an affair and are responsible for that. Imam Nawawi said, "Muqsitun huma adilun," they're just. Al-Iqsat huwa al-adl, it means to be just. Those who are just in their rulings and with their people and with those who they are responsible for. So it doesn't matter, he said, on what level it is. Doesn't matter on what level it is, from the Khilafah on down, everyone has to be just. You're taking one qadiyya, one matter that you have to deal with, whatever, the rights of, to dealing with an orphan or sadaqah or whatever, it doesn't matter. When it comes to huquq, the rights of people, why, and the rights of your family, you have to be what? Just. And this is a fadila for them, that they will be on pulpits of light on the day of judgment. Sharf, nobility for them. Manabir min nur, in the Malik al-Muluk, in the ruler of all rulers, Allah Ta'ala, shows their position with the Creator that He has placed them in this way. That they were adil and just in all of their decisions and just to the best of their ability in all of their situations in their daily life. This hadith is authentic. It's nothing that someone got up here and pulled out a Tablighi Nisab and came up with a hadith on his own, this type of thing. This is sahih. It's authentic ilm. But this is the right, or the reward, I should say, rather than right, of the one who in fact is just. And there's a few more ahadith I'll take and I'll close inshaAllah ta'ala. Every limb, as it comes in Bukhari on Thawr Abu Huraira, of Ibn Adam has upon it a sadaqah on the day that, on every day that the sun rises. And amongst the things that was mentioned to be a sadaqah was that he was just between two people. To be just between two people. That's a sadaqah. Ibn Munir mentions it in Ibn Hajar and Fath. And in dealing with the people, he was just. This is a sadaqah. Also, the 7 of those who will be under the shade of Allah Ta'ala when there's no shade except the shade of Allah. One of them is Imam al-Adil, just Imam. Now, and there's many ahadith of the Prophet ﷺ that we could go into regarding being just between the children. اعدلوا بين أولادكم, be just between your children, and many other narrations that we can bring. But my madhab is قال كلام ما قل وضل. My school of thought is that the best speech is that's short and straight and to the point. If these ayat and ahadith are not enough, as one of the Salaf said, if you're not going to receive admonition from ayat and ahadith, then you're not going to receive admonition. If you need a bunch of ridiculous stories and things to, get you inspired, you need to have the spit come from the stage to your face. That's ridiculous. No, ayah, hadith. Ayah, hadith. Go on as a talk of kalam and just doing what we want to do after we hear the kalam. Go on as a talk of having a bunch of tapes on a shelf and a bunch of books on a shelf, and the only connection between us and them is that they happen to be in our house. But the imitation of that in our lives is shameful. It's ridiculous. It's almost a joke. So if we can start to be just, then let's do so. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Hadha wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad. Yeah.